Amazon is beginning to sell cars, and I feel a bit conflicted about it. Recently, Hyundai announced that they would begin selling their cars on Amazon next year. Like, through this deal, you could go onto Amazon and buy a car similar to how you currently go onto Amazon and buy things like toilet paper or impulse purchases. In fact, according to Automotive News, Hyundai said it will begin sales of its full portfolio of vehicles via the Amazon shopping platform in January, enabling consumers to complete the full car shopping and buying experience within a familiar digital environment. This program between Amazon and Hyundai will begin with 18 dealership partners, and it will have a broader rollout later on in the second half of 2024. Now, I have a lot of thoughts whenever it comes to this move. And the first is, from a publicity standpoint, this move is very, very smart. The idea of Amazon selling cars is a headline maker for Amazon, and the fact that these cars that Amazon will be selling is a Hyundai is a headline maker for Hyundai. Genius. But the actual idea of selling a car on Amazon, well, whenever you begin to think of it, it isn't that far-fetched of an idea. In fact, similar things have been done in the past that I would argue are a bit even more far-fetched. Like in 2019 when Amazon began to sell houses, or just this year when Home Depot also announced that they would begin selling prefab tiny homes, or the OG Sears, who sold 70,000 homes from their catalog between 1908 and 1940. Why do retailers keep trying to sell houses is the real question that we need to be asking. The point is, this type of thing has been done before, where retailers sell out of the ordinary, extravagant things that they normally wouldn't sell. And because of this, my knee-jerk reaction is that this must in some way be a publicity stunt, and Amazon doesn't actually expect to begin to sell cars through their platform. Just like Amazon didn't expect to sell a bunch of tiny homes back in 2019, Amazon doesn't actually expect to sell Hyundais, right? Well, that seems to probably be wrong, because despite the fact that this Amazon-Hyundai pairing seems to be really strange, it does also seem to be 100% legit. And if you go to Amazon, you can actually look at the new Hyundai storefront, and you can see a bit of a design of what Amazon has in store for these auto brands that want to sell through their platform. Because while Hyundai is the first automaker to do this, I'm pretty sure that they won't be the last. And the interface is actually really sharp. You can see here that the website has a very familiar Amazon feel. In fact, the top header of the site is your traditional Amazon header. But as we go down, you can see that it has been heavily customized to Hyundai with this really nice video of the Hyundai Ioniq 5. And if you scroll down, you can see the different vehicles that are available to purchase with the signature Shop Now button from Amazon. And while you can't actually click on this, you obviously can't buy a car right now through Amazon because it hasn't actually rolled out yet. But you can easily see the different types of trim levels, how these trim levels differ from vehicle to vehicle, and you can also see the difference between something like a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, and a gasoline car. You can do things like view the interior, and you can even custom build the cars through the Amazon platform as well, selecting your exact trim, selecting the color, and then at the end of it all, you can figure out what dealership has the car you're looking for, and you can begin the process of arranging financing and contacting the dealership as well. Truthfully, I feel as though the reasons why Hyundai decided to do this become more and more clear the more that you navigate through this new Amazon platform. The navigation is clean and intuitive, and it's very easy to explore the different types of cars that Hyundai offers, the different trims, and the different customizations. It's really, really clean. But the thing that does confuse me a bit is that even though Amazon's website is really nice when it comes to showcasing the different Hyundai models, trims, and how to build one, I wouldn't say that it is necessarily significantly better than what Hyundai currently offers on their own website. On Hyundai's website, you can customize your vehicle, you can build it, you can contact dealerships, and you can see which local dealerships have the car that you're looking for, which are all of the things that this new Amazon platform is also supposed to do. And I guess the thing that I struggle with here are really two key questions. Number one is, are people really going to think to go to Amazon whenever it comes to shopping for a new car? Sure, if I want to find the price of a home item, or if I want to buy something for my office or for my living room, Amazon is probably going to be 9 times out of 10 the place that I go to either buy or do research on that product. But if I want to learn about a specific car, I'm not going to Amazon. I'm going to the auto manufacturer's website, cars.com, Auto Trader, Car Gurus. Amazon is probably at the bottom of that list. And truthfully, I think that training consumers to go to Amazon whenever it comes to their automotive purchases, I think it's a big ask. Consumer habits are incredibly difficult to change, and convincing people that instead of going to the auto manufacturer's website or their local dealership's website to buy a car, they should go to Amazon, I just don't think it's going to be something that consumers are very easily going to adapt to. And secondly is a question that I've been personally racking my brain about over the last couple of months, and that is the question of, do consumers really want to buy a car online? According to a number of recent studies done this year, while 90% of car buyers want a buying experience that starts online, only about 30% of car buyers are actually willing to buy a car 100% online. And I am definitely one of those buyers that fits into that category. I want to be able to start the car buying process online. I want to know what type of car I'm looking for. I want to be able to do my research, and I want to learn about pricing online from the comfort of my home. But whenever it comes to the actual buying process of going to the dealership and seeing the car in person, that's something that I really like to have. And I'm personally not super thrilled about the idea of buying a car 100% online without going to the dealership to at least see the car first. And so we have to ask ourselves, is the act of buying a car online, especially the act of automakers pushing online sales, is this filling a non-existent need? Again, I think about this all the time because I feel as though there's been so much discourse between dealerships and automakers over the last couple of years, really since COVID-19, about the transition of auto sales to an online platform. There's been a lot of discussions on how automakers can do this without screwing over their dealerships, how customers want this, and so on and so forth. And one of the drivers behind this discussion has been the fact that consumers hate dealerships. And so if consumers hate going to the dealership, an obvious solution would be to just allow consumers to buy cars online. But I wonder if automakers are also having the discussion that maybe the answer to consumer dissatisfaction with dealerships isn't to transition car sales to 100% online, but it's just to make their dealerships suck a little bit less. Like, seriously. This conversation is so fresh on my mind because I just recently purchased a used car from a dealership for my Turo fleet. This car is financed. It's also very different than a lot of the other cars that I have in my fleet, so I did end up working with a dealership to make this purchase. But because we were looking for a very specific car in a very specific price range, we actually were willing to go out of state to make this purchase. And we purchased this car sight unseen. We got a PPI, we arranged everything over the phone, we did overnighted paperwork, and then once the deal was finalized, my dad and I actually flew down to Florida to get the car, and then we drove it back to Dallas. And while the dealership that we worked with for this deal was great, it was extremely difficult to find a good dealership for this transaction. Prior to finding the dealership that we actually bought this car from, we probably called half a dozen dealerships that had cars that we were also interested in. And we felt like we had to beg these dealerships to let us do business with them, which is just ridiculous. They didn't return our phone calls. They didn't want to work with out-of-state buyers. One even said that even if we put a down deposit, they wouldn't hold the car for us. They were just rude and very difficult to deal with. And I'm not going to beg any dealership to take my business, so the moment that I didn't want to work with them anymore, I just moved on to the next one until I found a pleasant dealership to work with. The point is, I guess I'm just not entirely convinced that transitioning to online sales for automakers is the answer to the problem of consumer dissatisfaction. And I theorize that people don't want to shop for a car online purely because they don't want to buy a car in person, but it's instead because they really don't want to have to deal with a dealership. So they're choosing of the lesser of two evils. Either buy a car online sight unseen or deal with a sleazy salesman. And to me, the answer is obvious here, even though if I had my choice, I would choose to deal with a pleasant dealership with a good salesman over online sales every day of the week. But truthfully, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this because I think that this is a really personalized thing for each individual who's looking to buy a car. And I know that I'm not alone for the disdain of dealerships, but I also know that there are probably a lot of people out there that actually really enjoy the online car buying experience, even if I'm somebody who would probably prefer to just go in person. Now, one thing that I do want to note is that this business model that Amazon is taking part in with Hyundai is actually very different than what we've seen with other online car retailers like Vroom or Carvana. They are not only the platform that people buy from, but they're also the dealership that supplies and sells the vehicles as well. So they're sort of the all-in-one solution here. And with that, there is a lot more cost, risk, and just logistics associated with that business. Amazon is not going to be doing that. Amazon is just going to be the platform that people can use in order to buy the car. But they're not going to be stocking the inventory. They're not going to be actually selling the car to them. They are purely the middleman. It sort of is a dropshipping adjacent business model, but for cars instead of Shopify items. Now, I guess I don't really have a conclusion to this video because it's far too early to tell whether or not this new venture will be successful. But it absolutely is something that I will be keeping an eye on, and I do find this new trajectory to be very interesting. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.